watch begins at dusk. That's the law of the light. I climb these stairs more times than I can count. My knees don't complain no more. They know the drill. Just me in the dark and the flame that keeps asking to be lit. I hold the lens, it's a widow's eye. Smeared the salt from a month gone by. The wick was black, I trimmed it slow. A ritual of the only God I know. Below me, the rocks, a choir of teeth, gnashing the hulls of the ships beneath. There's a cross on the cliff for the fisherman's pride, and a voice in the wind that sounds like a guide. The keeper takes the watch. The sun is a lie. The only light that matters is the one he supplies. No harbor, no sleep, just the flame in the fog, and a promise he carved in the edge of a log. He's the ghost in the tower, the last of the same, while the sea tells its secrets to the hurricane. To be captain of a schooner called Grace. Now the only vessel I command is this place. The crew is the silence, the cargo is dread. I log every shadow, the lighthouse is shed. My hands shake a little, not from the cold, from the weight of a story that never gets old. There's a boy in the mirror who still knows my name, but the keeper takes the watch, and the boy stays the same. The keeper takes the watch, no thanks, no pay, just a turn of the lens, and the end of the day. He won't send a flare, he won't ring a bell. He's the pillar of nothing, a sentinel settle. His only witness is the ink on the page in the storm that keeps asking, how long will you wage? The only log he keeps is the one that says I saw it all. The watch is set, the flame is clean. Tomorrow I'll do it again. That's not a curse, that's just the only thing that makes sense. When you've seen what the dark does to men who ain't got a light to tend. Log entry wind northwest at 22 knots. Swells at 15 feet. rising. Barometer's falling like a promise from a drunk. The tower held, it always holds, but tonight every wave sounds like a knock. Got a name, I ain't learned it yet. It bites through the granite like a slow cigarette. The swells are a ladder, a staircase of glass, climbing up from the deep where the old wrecks pass. I write the numbers, the latitude, the air, the temperature of water that's colder than a prayer. But between the digits, between the lines and the ink, there's a shiver that the pencil ain't allowed to think. Log entry, winding northwest, swells at 15. The sea is a sermon, I'm the only one clean. The glass keeps falling, I've seen what that means. A slow motion funeral of forgotten machines. No angels, no harbor, no coast in the mist. Just a man and a lamp and a knot in his wrist. The keeper records what the ocean won't tell, and writes it in code for his own private hell. Last night I saw a light, not the one I tend. A green flash on the horizon and nothing to defend. Could be a ghost ship, could be a fisher's mast, could be the same damn shadow that I saw in the past. A sailor on a schooner, they called the Mary Lee. She went down in a storm, no trace of the crew. The key to a cargo was a promise I knew. Now every log I ride is a line for the few. Log entry, the wind shifted, the glass dropped low. The kind of weather the captains used to know. No stars to navigate, no compass to trust. Just the muscle of the wave and a pillar of rust. The keeper keeps writing though the ink runs thin, while the lantern keeps turning like a prayer wheel within. He's done with the hope and he's past the distress. The log is his anchor in the wintry mess. Log entry complete. Wind still northwest swells, holding at 15. I'll check again in an hour. That's the rhythm, that's the reason. The sea don't care what I write, but I write it anyway. Because if I stop, the silence starts asking questions. I ain't ready to answer. Girls don't fly at night, they know better. But here they are, a whole flock of them, circling the tower like they're searching for something they lost, or something that lost them. And then the ship came, no lights, no home, just a shape in the mist that that shouldn't be there. The gulls arrived at dusk, no later. Wings like razors in the fall, the silent traitor. They circled once, then twice, then pointed east. A feathered compass for a long lost feast. I raised my glass, not to drink, to see what kind of ship keeps no company. The hull was dark, the masts were spare, and every soul on board was already a prayer. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship, no distress call, just the fog and the keeper and a stain on the squall. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship, no flag, no name, the ocean's own secret, a silent shame. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship. I watched it glide through the chop and the current with no one inside. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship, no signal, no plea, just the sea and the lantern and the ghost of a me. Close enough to see a figure at the helm who looked like me. Same coat, same slump, same way of standing still. A mirror in the mist, a test of will. I blinked and the figure was gone. Just a girl on the railing, staring at a dawn that stayed withdrawn. The ship kept sailing, no wake, no sound. A flock of gulls above it, wheels spinning round. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship. I logged it in ink, but the ink ran dry and the page started to sink. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship. The keeper's curse to witness what the charts refuse to traverse. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship. No lighthouse log can capture the smell of a dead man's fog. A flock of gulls, a ghost ship. I'll take the vow to keep watch for the ones who don't sail back now. The only distress is the silence on the prow. Sidings, routine watch, but I'll know when the gulls will know, and the ship will still be out there, somewhere in the fog, waiting for another keeper to not believe his eyes. There's a house on the cliff, empty for years, but every night around this hour I see her, the widow, standing on the walk, facing the sea. She never waits, she never calls, she just waits. I don't know who she's waiting for. Maybe she doesn't know either. Maybe the waiting is all she has left. The house is dark, no candle in the pane, but she's up there again in the wind and a dress the color of a morning dove, the kind of quiet that looks like love. I raise my glass to her, a toast from the tower. We share the same hour, the same hopeless power. She stares at the water, I stare at the light. Two sentinels waiting for the same lost night. The widow's walk, she paces the boards, keeping a vigil with the fog and the gulls and the hoarded words. The widow's walk, I only watch from the glass, spyglass to her sorrow, a witness with no class. The widow's walk, she doesn't know I'm here, another lonely creature in the atmosphere. The widow's walk, her hope is a wreck, she's counting the waves, I'm counting the deck. I've seen her for years since I took the post. She was here before me, she'll be here when I'm ghost. Some say she's a legend, a wife who went mad, waiting for a schooner that her husband never had. Sometimes she turns, I swear she looks my way, but the glass is too thick and the night is too gray. Maybe she's waving, maybe it's the wind. The widow's walk is a prayer that never gets penned. The widow's walk, a railing, a rust, a woman who turned her grief into a trust. The widow's walk, no footsteps but hers, the only sound, the memory of 100 empty prayers. The widow's walk, I won't go down, the tower is my compass, the lantern is my crown. The widow's walk, she doesn't need me here, two strangers in the fall, two different kinds of fear. She's gone inside now, the walk is empty again. Tomorrow she'll be back, so will I. We don't need to meet, we don't need to speak, we just need to know the other is still there, still waiting, still watching, still refusing to stop. That's more than most people ever get. The dead don't drink, but they like the sound of a pour. So tonight I pour for the crew of the Mary Lee, for the Grace, for the Elizabeth Jane, for every schooner that went down with a lantern lit. Here's to the sailors who drink with Davy Jones. I hope the whiskey's warm and the water's cold. I dust off a bottle of Kentucky rye. The label is peeling, but the spirit don't lie. I pour 3 fingers, one for the sea, one for the dead, and one for me. There's a list in my head, 100 names long. Every storm I've weathered, every final song. I raise the glass to the ones who went down, the keepers of the seabed, the lost, the drowned. Drinking to the sailors We drink with Davy Jones, sleeping in the ballast where the marrow never bones. Drinking to the sailors, no chapel, no stone, just the roll of the ocean and the salt on the throne. Drinking to the sailors, their eyes full of sand, they don't need a grave when they own the land. Drinking to the sailors, I'll finish the pour, then join them when the keeper isn't needed anymore. Used to believe they were gone for good. Now I see them in the kelp and the driftwood. A different kind of current, a different kind of tide, where the anchor is a memory and the wreck is a bride. I saw a face in the water last week through the glass, a captain I knew from a voyage I passed. He nodded, I nodded, then he sank from sight. Davy Jones don't close his ledger at night. Drinking to the sailors, their names in the log, no funeral flowers, just the slap of the fog. Drinking to the sailors, their wages are dust, the only pension left is the trust of the rust. Drinking to the sailors, they don't need a bell, the deepest cathedral is the floor of the swell. Drinking to the sailors, I'll finish the glass and wait for the tide to come and take me at last. The only eulogy is the one that comes to pass. The sailors don't reply, they never do, but I like to think they're listening. When I join them, when the keeper finally clocks out for good, someone else will pour a glass, and maybe, just maybe, they'll pour one for me. The barometer's bottomed out. The sea is climbing the cliff like it wants to start a war. Let it, I've got a lantern and a rock and a purpose that doesn't negotiate. No storm will move me, not tonight. Not in a night they leave me standing. The glass is trembling, the lens might crack, the wind is a battering ram with a heart of black. But I've got my hands on the wheel of the flame, and I'll turn it till the ocean forgets its name. The walls are shaking, the granite groans, the dead sailors whisper from their buried bones. They say, give up, keep up, the sea always wins. I say, then I'll lose the way a lighthouse begins. No storm will move me, no surge, no gust. I'm anchored to the dying and the rust. No storm will move me, I've made my vow. The flame in the tower is the last of the now. No storm will move me, you can break the glass, I'll light the wick with the splinters that pass. No storm will move me, I've seen the worst. The deep already took my brothers, they can have my hearse. walked this spiral 1,000 times before, with the land of north and the prayer of the poor. Tonight is different, the prayer is gone. Just a man and a flint and a dawn that won't come on. The sea is a sermon, I've memorized the text. Every wave is a verse about what happens next. But I'm still here, the lens still turns, and the vow in my chest is a furnace that burns. No storm will move me, I swore on the wreck. The ribs of the schooners are still on the deck. No storm will move me, let the heavens crack. I've got a tower of patience, I'm not looking back. No storm will move me, the landing might sway, but the keeper's a pillar, oh, I'll see another day. No storm will move me, when the wave takes the stone, I'll be standing where the light was, and I won't be alone. The only vow that matters is the one you keep on your own. The storm is passing, it always does, and the flame is still here. I'm still here. That's not a miracle, that's just the difference between a man who tends a light and a man who begs for warmth. I don't beg, I burn. I've heard the sea scream, I've heard the sea whisper, I've heard it beg and threaten and lie, but I've never heard it knock 3 times like it had manners, like it wanted to come in from the cold. Storm had passed, the worst of the swell. I was wiping the oil from the lens in the well. Then came the sound, not a crash, not a crack, a fist on the iron, the gentle attack. I froze with a rag in my hand in the grease. The sound was a stranger, a guest from the seas. I've lived in this tower through calm and through wreck, and nobody knocks on a lighthouse, no speck. The night the sea came knocking, a fistful of foam, a visitor wrapped in a graveyard unknown. The night the sea came knocking, I counted to 10, then opened the door to no one again. The night the sea came knocking, just a puddle of salt and a boot from a schooner that broke for the fall. The night the sea came knocking, I stood in the frame and whispered, who's there? But the answer was the same. threshold. The wind was a lie, no footprints, no figure, no face in the eye. Just a boot on the stone, a relic of leather, sewn with a stitch that could handle the weather. I picked it up, it was dry as a bone. No salt, no water, no sign of the known. The soul had a name I couldn't make out. It looked like a whisper, a language of drought. The night the sea came knocking, I locked the door tight, but the knock kept coming from the other side of light. The night the sea came knocking, I called to the dark, what do you want? But the answer was a spark. The night the sea came knocking, a promise of rest from the quietest visitor, the most patient guest. The night the sea came knocking, I know what it means. The keeper who opens the door becomes the in-between. I kept the boot. I don't know why. Maybe because it's the only thing that ever came looking for me. The sea doesn't knock, it takes, but that night it knocked, and I answered. That makes us even, sort of. The world's on fire somewhere. I can't see it from here, but I can feel it. The tremble in the granite, the ash and the wind. Doesn't matter, I've got one job. Light the wick, turn the lens. Let the dead figure out the rest. The oil is low, I've been rationing for weeks, but tonight I pour the last of what the darkness sees. The wick is short, it's been trimmed to the bone, still holds a flame that the sea can't drown or dethrone. The glass is cracked from the storm before last, but every shot still catches light from the past. I don't pray for rescue, I don't pray for rain. I just turn the crank and let the lantern explain. Like the wick of the world burns, let the ashes fall. The flame is not a question, it's a fist against the squall. Like the wick, though the world burns, no witness in the way. The keeper and the kerosene, and the promise that he saved. Light the wick, though the world burns, the tower is alone, inhaling all the silence that the dying have unsung. Light the wick, though the world burns, the lens will turn alone, and the only altar left is the one of rust and bone. Check on me, a tug of light. Now the radio's static every single night. I don't know if they're gone or they just don't call. Either way, the lens answers to no one at all. I heard a rumor that the mainland lost its power, that the lighthouse is the last light of the final hour. If that's true, then I'm not a keeper, I'm a fable, a single spark before the dark pulls every table. Like the wick, though the world burns, the charts are obsolete. The flame is not a guide now, it's a pulse, a heartbeat. Like the wick, though the world burns, no ship will see the beam, but the ones who drown already know the meaning of the gleam. Like the wick, though the world burns, I'm not saving anyone, just a habit of a ritual. When the kingdom comes undone, like the wick, though the world burns, the tower is a spire, and I'll keep it standing straight until I'm out of time. The only offering is the oil and the divine. The wick is lit, the world can burn itself to nothing now. I'll be here turning, waiting, burning what I've got, not because it matters, because it's all I know how to do. Good night, you dark. You won't win tonight.
The sea doesn't brag, it doesn't need to. It's got a graveyard the size of a continent, and every stone is a story it chose not to tell. I used to think the silence was empty, now I know it's just full of things too heavy for sound. The water's flat tonight, like a lid on a grave. Not a ripple, not a whisper, not a trace of the wave. The storms in the past, its teeth are all spent, but the deep keeps a ledger where the wrecks are bent. I've thrown stones down the cliff, never heard them land. The sea catches everything with a silent hand. No splash, no echo, no return of the gift, just a hole in the surface where the darkness shifts. What the deep keeps, it keeps in silence. No bubble, no bone, just a patience like a sermon from a mouth made of stone. What the deep keeps, it keeps in silence. The schooners, the names, the last calls of the captains, the forgotten flames. Oh, what the deep keeps, it keeps in silence. I ask every night, but the answer is the pressure and the absence of light. What the deep keeps, it keeps in silence. And so will I. I've got my own drowned voices staring out from my eyes. I dropped a coin for every sailor I knew, a penny for the passage, a dime for the crew. The sea took them all, not a single one came back. Just a bubble on the surface, then a silent track. My own brother went down on a trawler named May. I stood on this cliff for a week and a day. No wreckage, nobody, no flag on the stone. Just a telegram folded in a breath I've outgrown. What the deep keeps, it keeps in silence. No marker, no mount, just a cold arithmetic where the bodies are found. What the deep keeps, it keeps in silence. The widows all know, but they stop asking questions after the third year of snow. What the deep keeps, it keeps in silence. The keeper's the same. He's got a chest full of anchors and a mouth full of shame. And that's the vow. I'll never tell what the water told me. I don't know how. The deep doesn't lie, it just doesn't speak. And after a while you stop expecting it to. You learn to keep your own silence. That's the deal. That's the only deal. You give it your dead and it gives you the peace of never having to explain. The sea is calm. The sky is gray and pink and tired. And the log is complete. Not because I've said everything, because I've said enough. The rest is just silence. And silence, I've learned, is the same as a prayer you don't have to finish. The final page is rough. My pencil's worn to the nub. I've written every swell, every star, every cup. The lantern's diet, the widow's walk, the knock on the door, the ship without a crew, the goal without a shore. There's a space at the bottom, a line I could fill, but some things are too heavy for a pen and a will. So I leave it blank, a white patient seat, where the keeper's story ends and the keeper's free. First light on a calm horizon, no schooner, no stain, just the ocean catching colors like a bruise after rain. First light on a calm horizon, the storm's in the log, the ink is dry, the wick is low, the silence is a fog. First light on a calm horizon, I close the leather spine, the keeper's hand is steady, the keeper's out of time. First light on a calm horizon, the tower stands alone, and the only thing I've kept is the salt inside the bone. Where the oil used to sit, the next keeper, if there's one, can decipher it. I've been the only
witness to a century of dark. Now I'm handing off the lantern and the ache and the remark. The horizon's empty, no boat, no distress, just a line where the water refuses to confess. Maybe that's the gift, not the answers, not the names, just a calm that follows chaos and the peace that never explains. First light on a calm horizon, the lighthouse takes a bow. The beam is getting thinner, but it's still a beam now. First light on a calm horizon, the keeper's not a ghost. He's just a man who learned to live with the things he's lost the most. First light on a calm horizon, no vengeance, no reward, just a rock, a lens, a promise that the dark cannot afford. First light on a calm horizon, the log is complete. The only thing I'm leaving is the dust beneath my feet. The only requiem is the rhythm of the heat. The log is complete, the flame is still burning, and I'm still here. That's not a story, it's just a Thursday morning on